Martian knew that when he's younger, he wanted to be a rescue pup. He had heard stories about how his parents always saved lives when they were top fire pups back in the old days. When he met Ryder and the other pups of a Paw Patrol, it seems like a chance to follow his parents' paws and be a great fire pup as well. Marshall was proud of accomplishments, but today wasn't one of those days. It actually one of his really bad cultsy day. Already he broke a farmer apple, caused a mare to get into an accident. And maybe he peed in the bush and was home of an angry white squirrel. On his way home to the lookout, he felt like a cloud was hanging over his head and ready to start to pour. I can't do anything right. Seriously, all I've done today was a mess everyone's day. Hey Marshall, you want to play some volleyball, dude? Marshall kicked over the ball. He kicked the ball over to Marshall, who stopped and stared at it. As much he loved to play, he didn't think that this is all bad luck stare going to help. I don't know. Come on, said Rocky, shaking his tail. Just pass the ball. Okay, check this move out. He kicked the ball into the air and with the nose a jump over the spike. Closing his eyes, he brought his paw down as hard as he could and heard the sound of something crashing, which made his heart sink. Oh no. Opening his eyes as he landed that he saw all four of his friends were wrapped up in the net, hanging in the air. Marshall gave a nervous smile and stepped back as his friends glared at him. Nice spike, murmured Mother Chase. Sorry about that, guys. Want me to help you out? No! I think you've done enough for one day, Marshall. Okay, sorry. The others look at each other with a less angry expression. Before everyone could do anything, Rubble rushed out of a lookout. Guys, the new Apollo the Super Pup cartoon is on. This consistently brought the cheer to all the pups, and they barked with joy. Each of them made their way towards the lookout, but before Marshall could enter, Rocky stopped with his paw. Hey, you made this mess, you get to clean up. Marshall nodded with an understanding and rushed towards the mess. He first gathered the poles and decided to descending to bring them inside first, and took them in with his mouth. Just as he was about to turn and put them in the shed, he suddenly found his paw on the volleyball and he rolled over. Whoa! Oh! He shouted, the ball rolling over under his feet, and he began to spin all around. The poles in his mouth were starting to come loose, and as he tried to gain sense of balance, he found himself rolling into the living room and in the outside door where all the other pups were laughing at the cartoon on the big screen. Marshall tried to get off of a warning. He finally lost his balance and fell towards it with a big crash. Even worse, the pole flew straight out of his mouth and decided towards his friends. Look out! The pups turned around and gasped but were ducking and the pole just sailed over him. Marshall sounded relieved that he'd seen his friends up unhurt. But gasp when the pole smashed into the TV, breaking it and shutting the cartoon off for static. Everyone got up and gasped in horror seeing their TV ruined. But when that quickly changed into rage, when they glared at Marshall, who was doing his best to look at an invisible mouse. Chewing his friends, Marshall knew that he screwed up big time, and unlike his previous mistakes, this one couldn't counter with a joke. Sorry? 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 Shouted Chase. All you do is say sorry. You could have hurt us with your clumsy attitude. Even worse, you broke the TV. Can't you do anything right, Marshall? Now we'll never see how Apollo saves a day. Who looked more disappointed than everything? No one was more a fan of a super dog than him. Rubble growled a rare fit and unusually kind of a gentle bulldog. Why can't you just be like the rest of us and not mess things up? I didn't mean to. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Every day, every time, you screw things up. I don't even know why you're in the Paw Patrol if all you do is make disasters all the time. Seriously, dude, this is just not cool. Maybe you should go mess someone else's fun. The rest follows suit, with the last being Chase, who Marshall couldn't believe was even doing this. They had been best friends since they first met, and this was the one who Marshall would care about the most. Chase, do you really see me like that? Marshall, sometimes you're really an annoyance. That was too much for Marshall. He started crying and ran in to the lookout as fast as he could. Chase froze when he saw this and was about to call out his name, but stopped and shook his head. Maybe he'll finally stop being so clumsy. Still, part of Chase wondered if he went too far. Hiding in his doghouse, Marshall ever cried as hard as he did in his life until now. Hugging his pillow, he continued to sob into it as he felt his heart breaking into pieces. His own friends, the pups he worked and played for years, and now hating him. Hears such awful things that he call and say things about him. He could still hear him in his head. Even Chase, who's like a brother to him, call him annoyance. Baby, all of them. All of them were right. How many times has been the Clouds and ruined their games or fun? How many times did he just screw up on a mission? He was a walking disaster. And it's better if he wasn't around. It's better for everyone if he wasn't around. Removing his head with his tear-soaked pillow, he glanced at the pillow of him and his parents, dressed in a firefighter gear. Who am I kidding? I'll never be as great as my mom and dad. I should be in the Paw Patrol. Marshall stood up and walked outside where he saw the Venture Bay. The town had been his home for years. He has protected and helped so many people here, and look at it, it's all over now. If my friends don't want me here, then maybe I should live somewhere else, away from Paw Patrol, someplace where they'll never find me. He glares over towards a nearly snowy mountains and live in a realization. That's it. I'll just live out in the mountains. You got snow, cute penguins, and I can still help people find their lost skiers. Plus, Everest and Jake live nearby, and they don't hear me. Maybe I convince them to keep my location a secret from the others. With his mind set, Marshall began packing for his new life. Dog treats, chew toys, food and water bowls, blankets, winter gear, my pack up my pup pack. Looks like I've got everything, thought Marshall as he wrapped them all up and put them in his trunk. Marshall donated his uniform, got onto his fire truck and turned it on. He stopped himself from hitting the gas pedal and turned towards the tower for one last look. The lookout has been such a great place to live, and being a Paw Patrol, and we're some of his best times in his life. Ryder has been a great owner and the best big brother ever. Chase was his best friend. He always looked after him. Everyone was like a family to him. He thought their days as friends would never end. Until now. So long, Paw Patrol, whimpered Marshall as he pressed the gas and peeled quietly after as he left the lookout. Hours had passed since their spat with Marshall and the other pup were bound out of their mind. Now they're all bored out of their mind. They told Ryder that the TV was broken. He said he's going to get a new one. That still meant no Apollo and no Papa Boogie. Another thing to be angry at Marshall about, certainly they were each doing their own thing and shave off the boredom. Roger was reading a book about Thomas Edison. Rubble and Zuma were napping under the tree, and Chase being doing push-ups, and Sky was flickering a walk back and forth. So bored. I'm going to ask Ryder if I can fly today, she said as she got up to head into the lookout. Yay, said Chase and Rocky while Zuma and Rubble snored. While watching Sky leave, Chase stopped doing his push-ups and turned to Rocky. Hey Rocky, do you think we're being a little too harsh on Marshall? Maybe, but can you honestly tell me you haven't always wanted to yell at him for his mistakes? Chase stays silent, but his gut was telling him that something was wrong. He got up and stretched his legs. I'm gonna go talk to him. He didn't even wait for a response. He just rushed into the other side of the lookout where Marshall's doghouse was. But when he arrived, he grounded and halted at the sight of nothing. The fire truck was gone, and as is Marshall. Marshall? Marshall? Chase cried out that there were no responses. Concerned, he tapped on his communicator, tagged for Marshall. Hey, Marshall, you there? No response. Marshall? When he got to silence for a second time, Chase felt that worry in his guts growls even more. I guess he's still mad at us. Or maybe Ryder has him doing something. He quickly called for his owner. Ryder was just about to finish the latest level of his space shooter video game when a call from Chase comes in. Pausing and accepted the manager saw Chase's face on a pup pad. Hey Chase, what's up? Ryder, sir, have you seen Marshall? His truck was missing. I can't find him. No, I haven't. I'll call him up to see where he is. Answered Ryder, and he turned off the chase and called for his fire. A few seconds later, he saw Marshall driving his truck. Hello? Asked Marshall, a bit surprised he's being contacted. Hey, Marshall, where are you? The pups were looking for you. As said Ryder, upon hearing this, Marshall closed his eyes before growling too much, to Ryder's surprise. Marshall? I don't care. Tell the other pups I'm done being the bother to them, and they don't have to worry about me anymore. If I'm such an annoyance, like they said, I'm better off of my own. I'm done being with them. And Paw Patrol, answered Marshall, clear and trying to hide the tear dripping down his cheek. Ryder gasped as he held the pad with both hands. Dozens of questions entered Ryder's head, but the first thing he'd do was to calm Marshall down and get him to explain. Marshall, you can't quit. The team needs you. Look, just come on home. We'll sort this out. Sorry, Ryder. Well, I made up my mind. I'm a lone pup now. I'm going to miss you. Thanks for taking care of me. Marshall, out for the last time. The communication was cut off as Ryder stood there, still in disbelief. He tried calling Marshall again and again, but nothing. Marshall had cut him off as Ryder think about what to do. Sky came up on the elevator with a smile.
Hey, Ryder, I was wondering if I can go flying since it's a great day.
What did you guys say to Marshall? Shouted Ryder, turning around with a fierce, scouting look. Sky grasped and whimpered upon hearing her owner's angry tone. Answer me, Sky, now!
We were just angry that he messed up the TV and we made a...
Sky shivered and felt her ears flatten as Ryder glared and harsher and harsher.
Told him that he was a burden to the team and he screwed up a lot, among other things.
Ryder rubbed his temples and trying the best to keep calm. Getting too angry right now wouldn't solve anything. He needed to get Marshall home as needed as the rest of the pups to help. Even if they're the ones that caused this. Well, I hope you're happy, Sky, because Marshall decided to run away.
Run away? I don't think he take that bad. It's Marshall. He always happy.
Would you be happy if your best friends would call you worthless and assault you? Breaking your spirit.
What have we done, Marshall? We had to get him back, Ryder. He's part of a team.
We're going to get him back, Sky. Ryder pressed the buttons to all of Paw Patrol. Guy just sat there praying that Marshall was alright and they could fix their mistake.
Oh, Marshall. I'm so sorry. How could we said all those things?
Paw Patrol, look out. Now! The rest of the pups knew something was wrong, by the tone of Ryder's voice was grudgingly behind it. None of them did not decide the usual call out and rushed as quickly as they towards the elevator on their way. Rubble and looked around and said, "Hey, where's Marshall? He's not here. Even his truck is gone. I hope nothing happened to him." The four reached the elevator and waited and waited. "This was weird," said Zuma. "We're all standing usually when Marshall here. We're all on our backs. Yeah, without him, it just seems empty," said Rocky. The others just nodded in agreement as the elevator started to move up. Getting into their uniforms, and they jump out and line up to get showed in the sky as Chase stood in attention. "Paw Patrol ready for Super Spy Chase." Voice died down as he and the other pets were met with an angry Ryder. Sir? Pups, I'm really disappointed in you. What? Why? They asked except for Sky. Because I had to find out that you five insulted and bullied Marshall earlier for making a mistake. The others win, says Rocky Whipper. You're just angry. Well, I hope you're happy now, because your angry words have forced Marshall to run away. The four pups gasped as Sky silently cried, Chase nearly turning white and pressing his community tag. "Marshall, come in, buddy, please!" The others tried their tags as well, Zuma shook his head.
Marshall wouldn't run away. He loves being a Paw Patrol. He loves us. But we were really hard on him. Muttered Rubble, doing his best not to try. He must think we hate him. What have we done?
Chase, to everyone's surprise, turned and began hitting his paw on the elevator. Stupid, stupid! How could I have said that to him? I call him annoyance. An annoyance! What kind of a leader am I? What kind of a friend I am? Chase howled in anger before falling in his hunches and began to cheer up. How could I ever said those things? Ryder walked up to him and held him, letting the super spy puppet to cry on his shoulders, as mad as he was at him. He knew that they were just as hurt as he was about Marshall's leaving. The others were just as emotional as Chase, and seemed the stronger of them. Acting like this brought a serious straight home. What are we going to do? We don't know where Marshall is. But if we never see him again, we have to find him. We have to tell him how much we care about him, and we have to say we're sorry. Right you were, Rocky, getting up his gambling his pad. We need all paws on deck for this one. Each of us were splitting up a search for Marshall. Zuma, you check the beach and water. Rubble, check the outskirts of town like Yumi's farm. Rocky and I will check the town. Chase, you and Sky check the forest and mountains area. If any of you see or get hint of where Marshall is, call us. The pups didn't even bother to shout their catchphrase. The situation just gets too serious. All they could think about was Marshall for his safety. Ryder headed for the pole towards his ATV while the pups went through the slide and into their respective vehicles.